Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Tween Tuesday program. I'm Miss Naomi, and I'm the Children's Assistant at the Headquarters Library. Today, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Adom Appiah. He is the author of the book Kids Can Change the World, a book that inspires youth to follow their passions, and he is also the author of the book Bouncing Back from Failure and Kids Can Change the World, the young readers edition. He is also the founder of Ball for Good, a nonprofit organization that is supporting communities through sports, and he participated in the 2017-2018 Scripps National Spelling Bee. Before we get into our program today, a couple of reminders. The audience is in view only mode, but if you have any questions that you would like to share with us, feel free to place them in the chat. Also, if you guys would like to say hey or say hi or anything, feel free to also place that in the chat as well. Please keep all comments nice and positive. Hello, Adom. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So tell me a little bit about your book, Kids Can Change the World, and what was your inspiration for the book?
My first book was written kind of spontaneously. I started by just writing down my experience with the Scripps National Spelling Bee that year and my nonprofit Ball for Good. And that kind of transitioned into writing a chapter and then a couple more chapters. And before I knew it, I had that collective story. And it's intended to be a process that youth can follow to kind of turn whatever their passion is into some kind of progress or some kind of result. And so I kind of outlined the things that I did, the steps that I took, and added some anecdotes and other stories. And the main goal is to uplift youth and make sure that they can feel motivated and encouraged by the book.
That is so cool. And in your book, you mentioned your preparation for the regional spelling bee. So you had sports going on, you had school going on, you had band. So how did you balance all of that and still prepare for the spelling bee?
It was definitely difficult. It was a difficult feat at first, but I decided that I wanted to be a part of this. And so, in that commitment, it took me writing things down, making sure that things were planned out throughout the week, that I had enough scheduled time for certain activities. And so it took some careful planning, but with the right approach, I was able to conquer it.
That's good. And did you get overwhelmed at any point, or did you feel like it
Yeah,
was
at
too
some,
much?
at some points, it was a little bit overwhelming, but I learned to adapt to it and grow from that.
That's good. So, how old were you when you first started writing?
Um, the first time I got into writing seriously and realized that I liked writing was probably when I was in second grade, about 8 years old. I took a creative writing course, and through Johns Hopkins CTY, and we started writing about different books we were reading as a collective class during the summer. And I started enjoying that writing process and submitting to those forums and those little questions they would ask. And so that kind of sparked a passion for writing that's kind of lived on.
Oh, wow. So, what was your first book, like your first story that you wrote as a little one?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. There are so many things that were kind of spread out over time that I don't really know a concrete example of what my first book was. I mean, I know definitely being someone who reads a lot. When I read books like Harry Potter
Mhm.
or other kind of not fiction books that were kind of fantasy or some kind of in that area oriented, I was inspired and I'd start writing something here and there. So there were little projects there that kind of led up to me eventually writing and publishing.
Oh, that's good. So who is your role model or your inspiration for writing?
For writing, I look up to a lot of authors really. Jason Reynolds is an author that I'm really into.
Okay.
I really enjoy his work and how it's uplifting and still uh, very timely. And so I look to Kwame Alexander. There's so many authors that I admire their work and I love to read it, and it inspires me to write myself.
That's good to know. That's very good. And who's your like your overall inspiration?
My dad and my grandfather, they are huge inspirations. They always have some words of wisdom to share. And so I appreciate everything that they can contribute to me, and I learn from them a lot.
That is good. So this pandemic has been hard on everyone. So during the pandemic, has it changed your daily routine? And have you experienced any writer's block?
Definitely. It's changed my daily routine as to when I was in virtual school, there were different times that I would approach different things in the day. School schedule is definitely altered. So with new classes and everything, there's a time balance. And so writer's block is something that I've ran into if I try to schedule writing at a specific time. So I'd rather let kind of ideas flow. And so I'm able to write in free periods, especially on the weekend, uh, things that are different ideas that I have. And so it's been a good creative outlet over the quarantine period.
That's good. And any hobbies that you developed during quarantine?
Yes, I have taken to exercising and
Okay.
working on music too. So I'm trying to learn the guitar a little bit, but I'm not very good yet, but I'm working at it.
Well, that is cool. That is cool. I mean, especially guitar. I've always wanted to learn how to play the guitar. So that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, I always liked how they sounded in like in music and how different musicians can take it and apply it to their own and make it their own. So it's pretty cool that you're taking up that talent. I mean, that hobby. That's cool. So tell me a little bit about your organization, Ball for Good.
Ball for Good is a nonprofit organization. It started off as a school project when I was in seventh grade. My teacher gave us this project that was called 20 Time, where we dedicated one class period a week or 20% of our time to a project that benefited the community in one way or another. And I combined my passion for sports with the general idea of the project, and Ball for Good was born. It was initially just a project, and so I didn't expect it to take off into a nonprofit. But with the help of my mentors, my parents, and a huge support system around me, what is now the Ball for Good team, we're able to eventually grow into a nonprofit that has been able to help several organizations and raise tens of thousands of dollars, more money than I'd ever imagined in the first place.
Oh wow. So which schools, like how in specific, have you been able to help? Um, or is there a story that stands out to you that you were able to help with your with Ball for Good?
Sure. Project Hope Foundation. They are autism awareness, and they've been really, really kind of productive with the funding that we've been able to provide for them through the Ball for Good celebrity game. I mean, there are several organizations we've been able to help that all have inspirational stories that follow them. And so we are so appreciative of every organization that uses our funds to the best of their ability to make a difference. And we appreciate that impact that's created. And it's really cool to see.
That's cool. And if a young one wanted to get involved with their community, what advice would you give them?
Well, There's always volunteer opportunities available. You can volunteer. Well, during COVID, it's a little more limited, but there are typically volunteer opportunities, be it with a church organization or a homeless shelter. You can look into volunteer opportunities in your area. If you're looking to start something independently, you can read "Kids Can Change the World" and understand kind of the process that I took and formulate your own approach, making sure that you're getting into something that you're passionate about and you can uh, grow. And Ball for Good is always looking for volunteers. If you're in the area, or even if you're not in the area, we're looking to expand all the time. So if you're interested in using Ball to make a difference in your community and beyond, just go to our website, ballforgood.org.
That is good to know. So I noticed on YouTube that you have a blog called Kids Changing the World. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, so that video series was kind of started uh, as a subsidiary of Margie TV. And so we kind of highlight youth every other Sunday who are doing something inspirational or making a difference in their community or have some kind of entrepreneurial project, just to kind of show these different ways that kids are changing the world, to kind of uplift other kids and uplift even adults to approach their day-to-day life in a different way and be kind of excited approaching different things that they're doing. So it's a really uplifting series that we enjoy doing.
Okay, that's good. And I saw a little bit of the series, and it's really, really good. So if you guys would like to check it out, do you just type in Kids Changing the World in the search engine?
Yes, it's on YouTube, Facebook. It's Kids Changing the World, Margie TV.
Okay. Um, so what do you think is important for young people to get, and why do you think it's important for young people to get involved with their communities in changing the world?
I think it's important for young people to get involved in contributing to their communities and collectively the world, because they really have a voice and they really represent the next generation. And so the world that comes next is theirs. And so to take charge of it at a young age allows them to identify with what issues are being presented to them, how they can approach them, and uh, allows them time to develop passions and develop a deeper understanding of what is going on in their community that they can help with. And I think when kids get involved in volunteering, it encourages the collective community to get involved in volunteering, because everybody loves to see a kid doing good.
That's right. And I like that you brought that out because many times, kids have that. A lot of kids may not know that, but they do have that. They have, I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for, but they have a way of changing the world. Even though they are little, when an adult sees them going out there, participating, volunteering, even if it's something little like helping someone take their groceries to their car, things like that, it's like it brings joy
Yeah,
to
definitely.
our hearts.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought that out.
Yep.
So we're got a little bit of minutes here. So let's hear a portion of your favorite part of the book, Kids Can Change the World. If you can read like a portion of the book for us.
All right. Let me see. So many good parts, but I will find. Let's see. All right. This is from the section Step 2, Get It Approved. When you have an idea, it may sound magnificent to you. However, it is advisable to conduct some research or propose this idea to some friends before you begin. Maybe your research will show you a better way to implement your idea. Also, who knows? Your friends may want to join in. A great example of that is Oscar Appiah, an eighth grader from North Carolina, who was part of the NASCAR Foundation PIT, Promoting Innovation and Technology, Crew Science Project, winning team. Oscar's team won a $50,000 grant for her school. By working with her team and listening to advice, Oscar's school received a technology renovation grant from NASCAR. So that's an example of how giving your idea to your friends or telling your friends about your idea can really evolve into something great, because Oscar was able to create something that was lasting for each and every person on that team, and for the school as a whole, through her project. And it's really important that everybody can kind of grow through learning through other people. And so by pitching your idea to your friends and getting it approved, you can really grow and understand different perspectives and how that's going to resonate. And if they don't necessarily identify with what you're saying, then you can maybe approach it a different way. And so I relate to that because in my own experience, I had to pitch my idea to my classmates, and they were able to eventually be a part of that Ball for Good team and a part of that Ball for Good journey, and uplift me and uplift the community really by representing this body of youth that is having a great impact.
Awesome. And when you went through the approval process, how was it hard? Did you have any pushback?
During the approval process, not necessarily, because my teacher and my classmates were very receptive of the idea of Ball for Good. But there have been times where there's been pushback and there have been people who don't necessarily agree with what we're approaching. And it's always been respectful. And we've been able to kind of work something out where as many people as can be satisfied are. And so we approach it in a way that it doesn't have to be about one person's specific vision, and it's rather about the overall community impact.
Good point. And what would you tell someone who may receive who is trying the approval process or trying to do it for the first time? What advice would you give them as far as paperwork and having everything together?
Well, primarily you have to be confident in what you're doing. You have to truly believe in it. And so when it comes to the initial approval process, not necessarily the legal approval process, that's going to require you having this confidence and being able to portray your ideas to people, whoever you're pitching it to, be it your parents, your teacher, your classmates, whoever you're pitching that idea to. Have confidence in that idea, know it in and out, so that if they ask you questions, you're able to defend it. And in the event that it works out, then you can take legal steps and look to research documents. Google is your friend as far as educating yourself with legal documents and what you need to do for whatever your overall goal is to establish this project.
And that's good. We have a question from the audience. Question from William. It says, can you tell me more about the John Hopkins program you attended, and how did you find out about it, and what did the program entail?
Yes, that's a great question. I appreciate that. The Johns Hopkins program that I participated in, CTY, Center for Talented Youth, it was an online program, and it still takes place. They have physical camps when you get to upper middle school and beyond. They have physical CTY camps, but I found out about it through my school. They informed us of these different opportunities when we showed kind of proficiency in academics. And my parents were fortunate enough to be able to enroll me in that program. And through that CTY program, essentially we were given the task of reading certain books, like assigned reading like you do in school, except at an accelerated pace. So we'd read maybe 3 books in a month, and we would write about a certain section of the book. And so through that, I got into writing and I started understanding creative flow. of course, I was younger, so it took me a little longer to write things and formulate my ideas. As I was typing with two fingers, I didn't quite know my way around a keyboard yet, but I was figuring out how to approach these different things, and I enjoyed this writing process. And so that exposed me to uh, different aspects of writing and kind of paved the way for my writing career.
Huh. Let me see. Also, when you were speaking about writing, I know many authors have like a favorite genre that they like to write. What is your favorite genre, and would you ever delve into or write another genre?
All my books that I've published have really been self-help. I mean, I wouldn't say that's my favorite genre, but I do enjoy writing self-help books and reading them as well. I mean, I've read a good number of self-help books, but my favorite genre to read is fiction. So I would definitely consider approaching writing something fiction. I don't know how I would do so or what it would be about, but I'm sure if an idea comes to me, that could be something that takes life.
Okay, that is good. That's cool. Let me see if we have any more questions from the audience. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. All right. And I don't think we see any more.
All right.
All right. So, do you have any? All right. So let me see. So I noticed here, I do have a question. um, why, I noticed that you have a young adult edition. So you also have a kids edition. In your Kids Can Change the World, the Young Readers edition, does it have the same information, or does it have like a different, does it talk about a different subject?
It's the same subject and it's the same approach, same kind of steps, but it's more of a simplified version of it to adapt it to young readers because there's some we heard from schools that there were readers who were learning to read or on a more elementary level of reading that still wanted the message of kids can change the world. And so we adapted that, added some imagery, and kind of allowed younger readers to enjoy the same experience with less detail.
Okay, and who is your illustrator for this one?
I don't know them by name. We had someone who was very talented because I do not draw, but someone who's very talented was able to put that together, and we were able to kind of get that all together for the book.
That's cool. That's cool because I like the covers and the name Kids Can Change the World. Was that the original name of the book, or was that like your
Uh,
second term?
there was a brainstorm list, but I don't remember any of the other names because Kids Can Change the World really just stood out.
Okay. Okay. And I noticed you also have Bouncing Back from Failure.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that book as well?
That book discusses my personal experiences with failure, how I've been able to turn failure into something positive, and then other stories of people who've been able to turn around from failures they've experienced and transform them into something positive. And so that's just a really uplifting story that people have loved to read about and felt encouraged by at the end of the day.
And I like that you said turn failure into something positive. How can you, because at times some people they may fail and they may feel like it's the end of the world. So how did you, or how can, what advice would you give someone who, on how they can turn a failure into a positive?
I'd say approach that failure as something that is not the end all be all of everything. It's a learning experience. And so you can look at that failure, look at what went wrong, look at what led to it, all the factors involved, and improve. And if you have a second opportunity, you can change the circumstances yourself based on what went wrong and what you may want to avoid in the future. And so you can turn that failure into some form of growth for whatever your next endeavor may be.
Okay. And we have another question from the audience.
All right.
So we know that it is school time coming around again.
Yes.
What university do you plan to attend?
I don't have a set university yet. I'm in my junior year of high school, but I'm looking at a number of schools and I like a lot.
Okay. Any in particular that you highlight that's your dream school?
I wouldn't put all my money in one space, but I really like Duke University.
Okay.
I like the campus. I like the environment. And when I visited, it seemed like a very good place. So that's where my eyes are at the moment.
Okay. And what would you major in? Or
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I'm still testing the waters on that. So I'm looking at different things I could look at.
okay. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. And if you had to have another book, like what would your next book be? I know that with school and everything.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I'm not really sure what my next book would be. I mean, I'm looking at different things that I've been involved in. I could look at something that involves financial literacy or something that involves uh, I don't know. I'm not sure, but it'd be something that reflects how I've grown since bouncing back from failure, and kids can change the world.
Okay. I like that. All right. Okay. So let me see if there are any more questions that we have going today. Okay. And while we're waiting on more questions, do you have anything coming up that is next for you?
Right now, we are working with the Ball for Good team to finalize some things with a fundraiser we did for cancer earlier, and I'm looking to kind of transition into something that we can do for either as our annual event or a replacement of our annual event. With the unpredictability of COVID-19 and everything, we are still trying to figure out exactly what avenue we would take. But things are in the works for Ball for Good. And for me personally, I am approaching every school day with a different kind of mindset of trying to grow and trying to be the best I can be.
Okay. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. I actually went into my next question of how Ball for Good is doing, especially during COVID-19. Have y'all has your organization experienced any setbacks?
Well, not significant setbacks. We've been fortunate enough to have a supportive base, and we've been able to adapt with different approaches, be it online streaming or some kind of virtual show or some kind of, we try to utilize the internet to the best of our ability to keep our supporters engaged and keep people aware of Ball for Good and the mission. some difficulties we've run into, but we approach them all with grace and hope for the best.
That's good. I'm glad that you guys have been able to make it during the pandemic. That's good to hear.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Let me see if we have any more questions before we close out. All right. We are all good to go. So I want to thank everyone. And I also want to thank you, Adom, for coming out today and for joining us for our Tween Tuesday program. Be sure to join us Monday, November 30th at 4:30 for our Tween Bookish Book Club program, where we will be discussing the book Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. Also, tune in Tuesday, December 1st for our Cake in a Mug program. For more programs and more, and this program will be recorded also. And for more programs just like these, feel free to check out our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/user/Spartanburg Libraries. That's all for now, and have a good day, guys. Bye.